there. A lot
Oh
of
yeah,
chess from that man. There we go. Denis Lazavik,
against
youngster, very
Magnus
strong
Carlsen
against Magnus.
up there, board one, center stage. That's a big matchup. They've actually played in so many of those online events, even with the in-person final. So they're probably very familiar with one another. And it looks like we are going to get some moves on the board.
And Magnus with his signature, make a move, adjust all of my pieces, readjust them again, and then make a move. D4, C4 looks like. Ooh, Danya with the knight F3. You don't know what I'm going to play here. And Brando with the think already.
I like that. Yeah, I like these up close cams just for the opening phase of the game. So many huge matchups on these top boards. Final round of the day as we go to the bird's eye view, James, and just get an overview of everything on the top boards for the moment.
As we see, everything looks very, very easy as the usual stuff. We got the Danya and Brando cam there. Double Fianchetto there with B3 and G3 from Daniel Nerditsky.
Yeah, any of those games catch your eye so far, James? Obviously, something that I noticed, which can always really frustrate you, is when you're, let's say, in Magnus Carlsen's position and somebody plays the exchange Slav. And you're just like, oh man, really? Like, this guy's just going for a draw. It's like when someone plays the exchange French against you. You feel a little bit of rage building up inside. Like, come on.
This is why I don't play like the Slavs or the semi-Slavs, because I would just see that and I would immediately be like, "Come on, bro!" It's so annoying. Play against but there is in this day and time actually we can see a lot of wins from the white side. In fact, white is actually looking to win in many cases like this. Still looking for the type of positions that you can get very slow. Queen B3, Rook C1. This is all stuff. C1, Queen B3, Knight F3, Knight E5. You can actually play for a win in these positions here, but I think he's totally fine. Him and Magnus.
That's right. Yeah, nothing to worry about here, but it can really get to you sometimes, and you just play a worse game as a result because you're trying to avoid a very boring position. The matchup that we've been talking about between Naroditsky and Brandon Jacobson, happy to jump to that board right now because I'm actually wondering, do you think, James, that we are going to get a real game out of this? Because I'm just asking, so far, they're copying each other.
They are copying each other. Okay, well, you know what? A4, A5. All right, Queen C1, Queen C8. Okay, cool. Whatever. Knight A3, Knight A6. You know what? Draw, bro. I'm not doing this.
Queen C1 is one of those moves where if you see Queen C8, you know what's up. But if I saw Queen C1, I'd say, okay, no, I'm good. D5, no worries.
Yeah. Let's see. Of course, as the symmetrical position can lead to many quick draws, but whoever deviates first will definitely give us some type. There we go. There we go. We got something.
Yeah. No, this is going to be a game. This double fianchetto stuff can actually work out reasonably well for white. I wonder if we're going to see him seize the complete center with D4. The alternative being maybe just knight C3 and maybe D3, knight D2 is another setup that you could try to utilize.
He does. He goes with the D4. And we have Rook C1. You can play D5, C5. I mean, I've seen all of these positions actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it becomes dry. I'm not gonna lie, it does become very dry. D5, Rook C1, Knight C3, and then you can trade and have the hanging pawns for D and C, or you can do C D5, and then Black on the other hand has sort of a hanging pawn type of ordeal here.
Yep, up to him to decide how to recapture. So Naroditsky Jacobson, the US8 battle. By the way, we already have a result. It being the final game of the day, James, I do think that is just going to be a little bit more likely as players are probably exhausted. I mean, if you guys think it's been a long day, just watching these final games of the rounds, I imagine for some of the players as well.
That's correct. And imagine, I mean, you've been here. Shoot, you had to get here earlier. Actually, I came in late today, so you got here even earlier.
Yeah, no, definitely a full day, but not complaining. In the name of good chess, it would be a disservice to be upset about a long day.
Absolutely. Yes. This is nice. It's nice to see, and I'm actually going to go back myself and go through all the games. One thing I generally like to do is go through literally every round and all the games. I highly recommend it at home too as well. I learned this from Fabiano. Fabiano knows all the tournaments and all the games going on generally. He just
Yep.
goes through and looks at them, which is something you can do now. Follow along as well, get ideas, and etc. Very nice to see all the games.
Get inspired. Well, where would you like to take us? I see Raunak Sadwani and Ray Robson ended up in a draw already, so that game is concluded.
I'm moving around looking for Jobavas and also other exciting games. Let's see. Okay,
I think I might want to, for the moment, just stop in on Levon Aronian and Volodar Murzin. I mean,
let's do it.
we have to take and pay close attention to this game because Volodar is getting it done every single game. He seems to find an advantage against the best players in the world, reminding us that he is one as well.
Let's go over there to the Mersin game. This looks like e4, e5 with an Italian game with early knight c3 and h6.
Yeah, precisely so. After castling here, it's looking quite fine. Obviously, with this knight on d5, you don't really want to take. But if you are, it has to be with the bishop. I would say bishop takes and knight e7 is kind of an idea at the moment.
We have moves coming in. Knight takes. He definitely take with the queen here. And then there was another move. What is
We're
that?
just going to see, a
Oh,
lot of recaptures here, like bishop e6, maybe bishop a7.
And probably take with the f pawn. I like taking with the f pawn to open the f file and then move the knight around to the f4 squares, what I've seen a lot for black having these type of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was always a fan of black. I mean, with these games like knight e7, knight g6, knight f4, you go g5. It feels like you get a
That's right.
quick initiative quite quickly here,
Uh-huh.
and I don't have to take on e3 at all. I don't have to play bishop takes e3 to allow the same for you.
So I would say that f takes e6. White should probably take on a7 because no matter what piece black takes with, it doesn't want to be there, right? Black's going to have to then move it back or move it back. So maybe f takes, take on a7, and then follow up with d4 would be an idea.
Classic. Very classic. And takes with the f pawn. Levon on the move. This is a big game though. 4 and 4
It
for
is.
both of them.
Queen b3, maybe annoying. I was actually looking at queen b3, bishop takes e3, queen b7. I was like, oops, a little in-between move on you.
Ooh, seen this before, this idea. Okay. Very nice. What else? Caruana is doing what? Let me check his game. I'm just going to move around, see what else is going on. Anything spicy?
It does play queen b3 there, does Aronian.
Hey, Denis, Sam.
Yeah, looking around at all those top games, Fabi's entrenched in just one of those classic e4, e5 positions.
Yeah, everything looks. Whoa, there is a knight on F. What is going on that game? Jonas Bier versus. Is this Dubov? Of course it is. There's a knight on F7. Like, how did that even happen? What is that? That's crazy, guys.
Let's have a look.
Crazy.
Let's have a look. Take us to the madness. So to show us how the heck we got there, it was G5 from Dubov. Yeah, count on him for that one, James.
G5, bro. Okay.
Rook G8, D4, H6, and Knight F3. He's seeing just Bishop H3 and didn't like it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the end of the world, is it? Knight F3, Bishop H3. Could even go G3 or something,
it's
but
G3, I thought.
it's not really a threat here.
He went all in.
So knight takes F7, and we actually saw Queen E7 here. I can't believe that I'm even saying this. Is this a real position?
And you know what? I saw Queen E7. I was like, I don't even have to take it, which is so cool. And then if Knight H6, I'm just going to end up casting Queen's Eye at the end of everything. So that's a correct. That's
King
funny.
takes bishop c4. Is this the issue?
And you know what? Bishop E6 just for the memes, because I do want him to take and play check. So my king's on E6, but that's obviously
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Come on.
It will not work out there. And if the
Absolutely.
king moves, bishop takes g8, king
King
takes.
takes, yeah.
I guess you could play this or takes. Interesting. I don't know. I would assume that I'm fine with black.
Very fun game. Actually, we heard they said Origin is playing a London, so we finally got a London system. We gotta go over
Oh,
there and see that
this
for a
is
moment.
this is great news. I'm thrilled. We got to go there. Eric Icey playing in London. Let's have a look.
In London system, Origin there, guys.
Just a pure London. Bishop f4 on move 2. In my
Okay.
opinion, the way it should be played.
Okay.
So he's playing it. What I would say is the old main line here, because he's including knight f3 first. And at the top level, most of those guys do it because it prevents a lot of the lines that black sometimes plays. c3 is the other move order. I'm definitely a believer in just c3. I think that's the most pure form of the London. But knight f3 early here from Eric Icey, knight d2, and we will get c3, so we kind of end up there eventually. Knight h4.
Oh,
And g4. So he's just after the bishop there. He's not going to get it. Well, he's going to get the dark square bishop, but obviously with a very compromised structure here, the two bishops are not necessarily the most clear of an advantage.
H5 takes, getting a little spicy here.
Very spicy. Yeah, takes on g4, takes back. There's pressure here on the bishop on h4. There's some knight e5 move threatening the c pawn, also knight d3, also the g pawn. So yeah, takes on g4 definitely looks like a decent start.
Absolutely. I think that is a incredibly decent start. H6, G4, just because of the pin on the H file there. So you got yourself a nice London, boys. Look at that.
Good, good. Happy to see it. Thank you to whoever pointed that out.
So I think Magnus's game is heating up, and also Sam Savian's game, which looks like a French where a Greek gift is very possible. Something crazy is happening there. Magnus's game is heating up. He played G5 early. So where do you want to go?
Well, let's start here with Sam Seven against Yavakir Sindarov. And reason being, you said Greek gift. I'm a simple guy. I hear words like that, I'm straight in.
Looks like something happening.
So look at this. I mean, what a move in the opening, and definitely a good one by the engine as well. It was b4, which seems wrong because the queen is pinning the a pawn, so you're about to just lose a pawn here. But instead, bishop d3 takes, queen c2 to stop the c2 discovered check, and now you're sitting there going, wait a minute. If you play like g6 or something, there might just be a mass sacrifice on that square. h4, h5 is coming. b6 played, giving up this pawn. And he says, I don't even want it. h4.
Yeah, this is a game we got to stay on. This is nice. It feels like something is going to be sacrificed, and it feels like there's going to be a mate, okay, in a few moves. And I like this h4 idea because after bishop takes h7, I can just go knight g5 and then go bishop g8.
Dang.
Ooh-wee, here he comes. The pieces are coming.
Dang. Yeah, that's really nice. So there's lots that can be set up here. Honestly, the engine is saying, no problem. Sam Sevian's got a great position. We're definitely going to win this. But I'd be looking at this and honestly be super, super scared. H6 maybe comes to mind here. Gets out of the way of that.
H6, I still go, I might do it anyway. Bishop h7, knight g5 anyway.
And what do you think of g4? It might even just full send.
I'm with it. These type of positions require that type of energy. G4 and G5.
Wow. Well, this is one of the most interesting positions, I think, on any board right now. We have a double pawn sacrifice from Sindarov into just a kingside attack. He's going all out here.
He's going all out, making Sam think about it, and he's catching up on time in the meantime. So very nice. Oh, let's go to Magnus's game. His castled and there's no basically the G pawn may be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is the furthest away from a exchange Slav I've ever thought a move to be.
Let's take a look. Denis Lazavik against Magnus Carlsen here. True, this did start as an exchange Slav, but one thing that I mentioned as soon as we saw this was that sometimes the exchange Slav, it kind of makes you, James, like play out of your normal comfort zone because you overcompensate. You're like, man, I'm in an exchange Slav. This is boring. I got to play for a win now. And so you do too much. And sometimes that's exactly what the exchange Slav player is hoping you'll do.
And you know how to refute the exchange Slav? You don't play the Slav. That's it. You just don't play C6. You play something else.
Great advice there, James.
That's how you refute it.
Everyone write that one down.
Yep. Exchange Slav is so annoying.
Is this cut and dry? Like at this point, are we just winning a pawn here? Magnus cannot be happy with this. It's so simple that you're winning a pawn, which means I think he's got to almost play like a move, maybe knight e4, try to at least double some pawns.
No, it's extremely annoying because, yeah, I mean, we pushed his G pawn, we castled the king, now we're dropping a pawn here. He may have to go for this knight e4 idea to really damage the structure at least with knight g3.
Mm-hmm. He does.
Maybe which he's going for. Yeah, maybe he might give up the pawn with g3 if we move the bishop away.
So if bishop takes g4 here, knight takes g3, f takes g3, yeah, you want to save the bishop. Bishop to h7, for example. But technically, you're down a pawn. Yep. So I don't think this is how Magnus would have wanted the game to go.
And he does. He goes with bishop f4. He says he's going, I'm going to move out the way. I want everything here. So g3, I just take it. Magnus is just going to go down a pawn here. So how do we create anything? I'm curious to see. If not, Magnus is down a clean pawn and his king is weak.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he can try to trade the bishop here, but in the way I see it, it really doesn't get that pawn back. And it just looks like you're down a clean pawn. This knight on e4 can be evicted with knight c5 or knight c3 as soon as you get a moment.
Yeah, Magnus having a tough day. It happens. It definitely happens, but there's still a lot of chess left. But this isn't, Magnus maybe in some slight trouble. It's just kind of down a pawn, right, for nothing. No real count.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Magnus is, he's down on time. He's going to be down a pawn. This was the exchange Slav. It's not really how you'd want it to go. A loss here really caps off just a very poor day for him overall with his standards. The standards he sets for himself.
Right.
2.5 out of 5 would be absolutely no good.
Okay, bishop g5. I like this idea. He's saying, I want to damage your pawn structure really badly if you're going to win this pawn. That's very practical. Very good move there.
It makes sense. Honestly, bishop takes and bishop g4 looks pretty simple to me. But I can see how, that king's going to get up, rook over to the h8 square. You could try to scare me there. I'm not going to lie. I could be convinced.
He did win a game, which was the kind of game of the whole tournament there, besides the Ali Reza NBL game. But in CCT finals, he won a game that he was completely losing out of the opening. I don't know if you spotted that one against Wesley in the Nimzo Indian game, where it was like +3 out of the opening. But he came back and won the game. King got the e7. He sacrificed an exchange on g3, put the knight on g4, which is a very strong outpost, and was able to win that game. Insane here. So it's not over. Obviously, you can use the g file, and the pawn is just a pawn, but not what he wanted, but still lots of chances here for Denis to go wrong, in fact.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe we can move away from this game for now, but we're leaving it with the conclusion that Magnus should not be happy, and Lazavik really is the one playing for the advantage here.
I think Sindarov may be mating in 6 moves, maybe 7. Yeah, of course, Eval Bar is like, yeah, right. What are you talking about? But when you see these kind of pieces around your king, it's a very scary day.
Yeah, honestly, there hasn't been like any moves in that game, but that was the attacking game we were looking at earlier, and man, it just did not look like fun to defend.
Yeah, there's a rook coming to G3 and then knight H5, and like, how are you defending actually
And what
with the
about
bishop over here?
Lenier? Have we looked at that game? Because him against Sargsyan, that's a battle of. It's actually the only game that's ongoing between two players that have a perfect score.
Let's go check it.
Right? These are the 4 out of 4 club, Sargsyan and Lenier. And by the looks of the position, we're not going to have 4.5s. Like this looks like somebody's going down.
Man, what is this? What is going on? First off, I always got to go check to see. What did y'all play from the opening? Let's go check that. That was, okay, classical stuff. Got a Roy.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, with this is, what is this variation called? Chigorin, I think. I think it's called Chigorin. Oh, very nice.
It looks like something. And wow, I didn't realize that Queen C4. So Sargsyan immediately forking the pieces, right? Looks bad.
Mm-hmm.
Queen B3, played by Lenier, offering an entire piece, by the way. And then knight E2, and he's saying, look, I'm going to get it back on B2. So already extremely creative stuff, but I think Sargsyan's coming out on top because all he has to do is move this queen, and he has done. And guess what? You win my knight back, I'm winning your E4 pawn. Bare minimum, I'm going to be up a pawn here.
Ooh, which seems like that's happening. B2, and then I snatched the E4 pawn. Sargsyan is just out of his mind today. Nobody's like, yo, who you think would be at the top of the leaderboard? You know,
Yep.
you would not even, he wouldn't even be close, of course, but tells you the strength of this tournament. And if you get a hot streak, listen, it could happen to anyone, as he's having a hot streak right now. Not to say that this game's over, but he is winning a clean one. Which, did he take it?
He took on B2, and Sargsyan is probably thinking, how do I take this pawn? I could take with the
There it
bishop,
is.
I could take with the knight. Both look good. He decides to play bishop takes E4. Yeah, hard to fault him for that one. He's a clear pawn up, and depending on the result of the Merzin game as well, he could, because just Merzin against Aronian, we were looking earlier as E4, E5, looked kind of a drawish. If that game goes drawish, he could have the sole lead in this tournament after today.
Yeah, and then going into tomorrow, you know, like being the guy to beat, everybody's talking about me.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good place to be. His confidence will be through the roof going into tomorrow.
And bishop b3 played the best move found by one of the best players in the world. Is, you know, not surprising. At some point, it's like, yeah, you know, we do expect that from these guys. So impressive nonetheless when they do.
Absolutely, so impressive to see and watch. On the good end of that, lots of games that I can pull from. There's a lot of action going on. Definitely watching the Magnus game closely. His king did go to G7, and that pawn is gone on G4.
Yeah, that looks tough to deal with. Couple other games going on. Fabi, Hikaru. That
Let's
we
go
can
over
take
to
a
the
look
Danya
at.
game. Actually, chat's like, Danya. Okay. They said Danya's going all in.
Oh,
So
what does that mean?
They sound like exactly. I thought the same thing. What does that mean exactly? Whoa, queen on A1.
They tricked us.
Looks like he's going all in on the queen side. Like all of his pieces are going to the
This
queen
is
side.
all in. You guys gotta check yourselves. We got trolled. Daniel's going all in. Yeah, he's got an equal position in the middle game.
All in, chat. All in. Nice. This is.
I tell you, chat's just late in the day, late in the show. Can never be trusted.
You know, we always say chat is either 5,000 rated or 500 rated. There's never an in between. It's either one or the other. It's never.
That's right.
Never anything in between.
I mean, definitely not a position with nothing going on. Not at all. I think the position is interesting. Black is doing the right thing. When you have this Fianchetto setup, I've mentioned a few times, even this broadcast, but when you're fighting against the Fianchetto setup and it looks like this, and there's no knight on f3, it is a great time to play h5, h4.
I do agree there. H4, yeah, that looks good. Knight f3 looking good too. Yeah, Stanya playing checkers. That's kind of funny. Playing all pieces, all dark squares over there. Kind of look like some checker pieces, but
that is
I
funny.
like Danya's flexibility. In fact, in this position, I think Black is very active. Where one thing that Brandon is very good at is active positions and tactics as well,
Hmm.
which Danya thrives into. But so far, so good for I think both players. I mean, it definitely is dynamically equal, is what they say. Black has activity, but white does too. And a lot of times when you see these dynamic type positions that are equal dynamically, you'll be able to trade things off. And once pieces trade, it just becomes, as we see Engine saying zeros here. But at the end of the day, time can play an issue here as well. Danya's a speed demon. Brando is too low. But let's move around. Let's go back to that Magnus game as Magnus is down a pawn
It
fighting
is.
against the young Denis.
It is not looking good. Position seems to be getting worse and worse for Magnus. We left it a few moves ago, and I just did not see any way that this was going to turn around. The king is getting to g2. There's no, queen h6, nothing like that. That's never making any threats. Yeah, this is a problem here for Magnus.
Wow, and Magnus not having the greatest start, obviously here in this tournament, but we do have to remember he did just win the entire CCT again. He went crazy in the rapid format here, and he just didn't get off to a good start. And he may, it's not good this game. He's down a
Mm-hmm.
pawn. Position is just clearly better for Denis, but it just shows this is hard. This stuff is completely difficult. We had 2 draws early with Magnus, trying to get this game, or trying to get something from this game. It's a very good question, but it doesn't seem like he's getting anything here. Down a pawn, and Denis is looking to convert.
Yeah, he's just playing solid. He's not in a position where there's much risk. He's got things solidified around his king, most importantly, not just a good pawn structure, but a safe king. So even though there's an open file against it, yeah, he has it. He's basically claiming the open file just as much as black is.
See, we have a move. Queen d3. I'm a fan of that move too as well. They want to kind of maneuver my knight around to e3 and then put the other one on e5.
Very interesting position here. I wanted to jump around to Fabi's game.
Let's go.
He's playing against Rasmus Svane, and I just thought this position was completely nuts. I don't even know what's going on in this one. Definitely some kind of e4, e5. Yeah, it was like an Italian game,
yeah.
but look at the amount of space that Fabiano was afforded by his opponent here.
You have b4, d5. Yeah, shoot. Everything opposite forced. Okay, takes. Bishop d3.
So rook b7, c5 is definitely not how I would expect that to be met, but it's due to the a6 pawn there.
A very strong pawn. He takes, and stepping out of the way there.
Bishop all the way back, and he actually played c4, I think because he was realizing, wait, knight c4 is about to happen, and this bishop is not going to be playing the game of chess today.
Yeah, that bishop is so bad. So it's diagonal, same thing, different square.
Mm-hmm. Knight takes c4, of course. But now, isn't this what he wants? Takes, knight takes e4, and that bishop is actually coordinating on the f2 square.
It does help black here. As takes is on the board. Knight takes e4 played. F2 is hanging. Bishop e3 comes out. I got to pass her on the a file.
And at this point, I feel like half the reason we want to check Fabiano's game is, just to go full screen on the cam and check out the fit. I wouldn't mind just dropping in on the game just to do that a few times.
Drip check the drip. Got the haircut. Got the blazer on him. My goodness, he killing them.
Yeah, forgive me if this ends up in a dead drawn rook endgame. We may come back here to analyze it in depth. For the fit check, of course.
For the fit check, of course, got to check the fit. 100% fit check gives you extra elo depending on your fit.
And it's a good thing he's got that distracting suit because, well, I'm not sure that I appreciate his last couple moves. It feels like the advantage has disappeared a little bit, James.
Yeah.
Queen takes d1, knight takes e4. Is this really good? I feel like the advantage has slipped away.
I think so too as well because of the dynamicism of black's pieces. Besides the bishop on e8, there is a trade a5. could be a little loose at some point. The knight can swing into f4. Now the
Hmm.
bishop trade, I guess, yeah, well that bishop was bad for black. I mean, black has a lot of weaknesses too. E5 and c6. We have one on a5. A lot to play for still.
Right.
But yeah, of course, slipped a little.
Certainly has. Moving around the stage a little bit. Shall we look at Hikaru's game? He's down there on board number 10. He's against Andreassian.
Gotta go check that.
Kind of, how do you spin around at the World Rapid and Blitz without checking in with Hikaru Nakamura? 3 out of 4 right now, so definitely having a good event. Even a draw to close out the day would be fine, but I would say in this position he might be looking for more.
Yeah, the dark squares are weak around black's king. The question is,
Yeah.
how do we get there? So we would love to play e5 and put a knight on e4. So trying to figure out that route would be amazing. E5,
Mm-hmm.
maybe rook c1, knight c5, knight e4, knight f6. It takes a lot of moves, but it will take some time. In fact, we just got word though. Go to Blue Bomb's game right now. Wow.
We're
Okay, we got to go over there to Blue Bomb. Let's go
we're
see what that
on
game
the
is.
way.
Whoa, his king is on G5 and it's equal. Equal what? You've lost your absolute. Y'all need to figure out, no, refresh. I don't know what they talking about. Throw the engine out. How did we get here?
All right, I'll take us on the walk. Bishop takes G4, double question mark by the engine. I'm not sure that I buy that, because if my king has to end up on G5, I might be awarding it a double exclamation mark.
That's right.
H5, bishop H3, queen A6, heading into the D3 square. Obviously blocking that. If the knight's covering it, let's hit the knight. Knight takes H5, queen D3, king G4,
Oh my
rook
goodness.
E4, bishop
King.
F4.
Woo! Craziness.
King
F5.
takes G5. You were actually supposed to take on. I mean, this is great. You were supposed to take here. Look, I'm telling you,
Oh my
James.
goodness.
There's no way that this is supposed to be the position. This is crazy.
Nah, this happened. This is not real. This is not
But
real.
what was played was King G5 instead of King F5. Obviously, double question mark doesn't mean it loses the game, but missed out on a big win there. Queen takes H3, and I don't even know where to begin here.
Rook G. Well, he has King F7. Oh my goodness. And then you're getting. Who are you? I have King H6. And like, wait, no, there's a perpetual. Okay, so that's crazy. The problem here. Can I go King F6? Yeah, the problem here is obviously the king. So knight F6, King F7. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Queen H5. Oh, that's how he's getting out of there.
So
So King
King
F8.
F7, Queen H5 check, trading that menacing piece on H3
Right.
is the only remedy here, it seems.
Yeah, because you have to get rid of that. King on G5.
I have no words for this.
Me either. Like I've had one game OTB where I had to walk the king from E8 to like, where was it? H5 or something in the game. Won the game, but it's just crazy. This is very scary. Very scary.
Let's see if he plays Queen H5.
Queen H5. Whoa,
What?
Rook G1. No, he didn't. He didn't play Rook G1. He played it. Now Rook H8 is hard to find, but Rook G1 did not
The
seem
Rook
like
H8 is not that hard to find.
it's really
Let's
not.
be
But
honest here.
I didn't think he was gonna play Rook G1 because like your king. Like, how do you play a quiet move when your king out here in the middle of the street of mine? How do you do this?
I
Your
really
king
don't
out here
know.
looking crazy.
That's a different level of cool, calm, collected.
Bro, his king on G5, Rook G1. You gotta play Queen H5 there. But of course, Chad going crazy here. He plays Rook H8. That's wow. That's a cold shower there. So we have a few things. Dennis is cooking. Oh my goodness, he has a queen.
He's
He has a queen.
pretty much earned his win at this point. It's just a matter of technique. I will say Rook H8 in this particular game should wrap it up. The only move to avoid checkmate is Queen H5. So kind of a cool game to finish the day for Matthias Bluebaum. Very cool game right there. But we got to go back to the top here. Denis Lazavik, Magnus Carlsen. The character of the game has shifted incredibly since the last time we were here because Magnus Carlsen does not have a queen.
He does not have a queen, but of course, okay, listen. Yeah, Engine says, oh, completely winning for white. Oh, knight G6, brilliant move there.
Yeah, brilliancy from Lazavik.
It's not that easy, despite the ending, the bar being all the way up. I mean, you still have two knights here, which and good squares for the pieces,
Mm-hmm.
and white having weaknesses. So practically, yeah, black still has a lot to play for.
Yep. I would say pawn to f3 also feels really good for white. Just taking away those squares, put the knight on g5, and after that, feels like you should be good enough.
I'm not gonna lie, F3 would really annoy me. That's such an
Yep.
annoying move, bro. Like, I'll be so mad. Like, come on, bro. F3 and F4. Like, how can you have both? How can you have
Exactly.
both
It's not
here?
fair. You got one. You're supposed to have weak squares then.
Yeah, but you have none there. Like, it was just kind of crazy. Queen B3. Okay, there's a B5. Queen A3 hits the knight, so he goes knight C6. All right, best defense is offense. He is fighting. Magnus, one thing he will do is never go down without a fight.
Mm-hmm.
So he still has some. Oh man, this knight on H3 is a vicious knight though.
I think
Defending
Dennis is
F4.
saying, look, you can take the center. You can try to fool me and say that you've got big threats with rook g4, knights coming in. But look, I'm up a queen. I'm just going to say I don't believe you.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. I don't believe you here. And Magnus is okay. There we go. Repeat,
I would say queen d3 looks very, very good here.
defend, and push the A pawn.
Yeah, I like that plan a lot, James. That looks reliable. a4, what's stopping you?
Exactly.
Maybe knight c5?
Knight C5. Can I throw in the check? You do go rook G4. It doesn't really do much, but maybe I go Queen A3 there. I hit the knight and queen behind the pawn.
Yeah, I was
White
thinking
bounce
that maybe
away.
I could just take and then grab the knight. But, I still have the b pawn to deal with, so I don't know.
We do have some moves. Craziness on the Jonas's board versus Dubov is completely equal, is what it says, but the imbalance there is absolutely crazy. Two rooks versus a queen, bishop, and pawns. Like, what? What does
Well,
this round come to?
it is madness. We've got this game in front of us. It does look like a win. We'll leave the technique to Denis Lazavik. Another game that is really heating up is the one we started with, and chat was like, "Man, why'd you go to this game? It